Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey. Now in the last video I already covered how to do a drawing system to draw sort of like a pen, so that one is a very free flow system. Here instead let's build a pixel art system, so you can draw each pixel individually, and then of course you can take those pixels, turn them into an image to easily add modding to your games or anything like that. So I'm going to cover drawing but also saving it as a PNG so you can use it in any way you want. This one is actually pretty easy to do thanks to the super awesome grid system that I've built quite a while ago, and in the end you can download the project files for the final scene and easily apply it to your game. If you prefer a more guided path with step-by-step lectures, then check out my complete courses. Learn how to make a Builder Defender game using C# just like I make my own Steam games, or learn how to make games entirely using visual scripting, or learn all about Unity with the Ultimate Overview course, which contains over 30 lectures, each covering a different tool or feature of the engine to help you make better games faster. I'm always available in the courses Q&A section, answering your questions every single day, so check out all the courses with a link in the description. Okay, so here let's build a simple pixel art drawing system. Now, I've actually pretty much already built this before when I made the heat map video, and I also did something very similar with the tile map video. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, then you've already seen me use my grid system in so many occasions, and this is yet another one where that system is perfect. So once again, yet another reminder of why you should write good clean code so you can reuse it many years in the future and use it in tons of different scenarios. Okay, so here let's do it. Let's begin by making a script. Let's call it the pixel art drawing system. Then just make a game object and attach it. Okay, so here the first thing we're going to do is set up the grid. Okay, so I'm creating my grid. Now again, if you're not familiar with this grid system, go watch the entire playlist. It's pretty easy to understand if you watch those videos. So we have a grid and a grid object. And the way it works is essentially every single position on the grid will have an instance of this class. So now let's think about what kind of data do we need for the grid object. We're trying to draw some pixels and each grid position is essentially going to be one pixel. So in here, really all we need is just a color. So let's just add a simple color. Now let's just do a quick test to see if all of this is working correctly. So on the grid class, I've got a built-in debug, so it shows a bunch of text and things. So just set this one to true. And yep, we've got our 10 by 10 grid. Let's just also override the toString function. And here just return the color.red, just the red channel. Okay, and alright, so far so good. We've got zeros on everything, alright. Now let's do a quick test to be able to click and modify each position. So for that, let's do a simple private void update. Let's listen to the mouse button click. So get mouse button down on the left mouse button. When we do, then we need the mouse wheel position. So I've got a nice function in my utilities to do that. So in my utils class, get the mouse wheel position. Here's the function in case you want to know how it works, and also cover this topic in a dedicated video previously. So we've got a mouse position, now just going to the grid in order to get the grid object on this mouse position. And then we just need the function to modify the color. Okay, so we get the mouse wheel position, we get the grid object on that position, and then we call the function setColor and we change the color to red. Okay, let's see. So here I am, everything on 0, I go and I click on this one, and there you go, it turns from 0 into 1. Alright, awesome. So essentially what we have here are our individual pixels, and we can now click and modify any of them. So the next step is to turn this debug visual into some actual proper visuals. So for that, I'm going to reuse the tilemap class that I made in another video. Again, go watch the whole playlist if you don't understand it. The grid system and the grid tilemap are super easy to understand if you just watch the videos right from the beginning. On the very first video, this grid class was created from scratch. So here is the tilemap visual, I'll just rename it. Now here for the logic for the tilemap, we had a specific tilemap sprite UV, so it stored some coordinates for some specific tilemap object values. Then just some logic to actually receive the grid object with the underlying data. Then it listens when any grid value changes, and if so, then on late update it goes to update the mesh. And then for the mesh here, it just cycles through the entire x, then the entire y. It generates a quad with a certain size based on the get cell size, and then for each one of those, essentially just adds a quad on that position. So I'm just going to remove all the references to the tilemap here, so don't need any of this. Okay, so I just removed all the references to the tile map, so everything is very nice and simple. Now here we are generating each quad, so it's in here that we have to decide what color we want it to be. Now the tricky thing with this system is I really wanted to support pretty much any color. So here the grid object has a color value which can be any color. But as you know, the mesh can only display things that are actually on the material. You cannot just say print a random color, it has to be somewhere on the material. So first thing we need is actually make a texture with all of the possible colors. And over here, that's exactly what I've got. So I literally just opened up Photoshop, opened up the color picker, and just took a screenshot. So here I've got all the colors going everything from red, green, blue, and so on, going from white into more saturated. So I've got tons of colors. Now here we have an important question. Over here on the grid object, we could technically keep storing just a color value, so a color struct with RGB. We could do that, and then we convert the color into a position on the texture, or we can just take the simpler approach. So instead of storing the color itself, all we do is really just store the position on the texture. So let's go with that simpler approach. So in here, just swap out the fill type. Instead of being a type color, let's sort of type color2 and name it the color UV. So just change this. So now that we have a vector2 for the color UV here, then over here when we draw the quad, it's insanely simple. We just need to assign the UV to the actual UV that is stored on the grid object. So just going to the grid object and let's get the color UV. And we can use the grid UV 00 and the 11 as exactly the same, since all we want is really just an exact color. Okay, so just like this, it should already be working. Up here on our testing, instead of always using the same color, let's make a simple color selector with a keyboard. Okay, so just press a bunch of keys in order to change this one, and then just do the same thing, set color UV. Alright, so let's test. And here, of course, we also need an object with the visual. So let's attach it. And for this to work, we need to add a mesh filter and a mesh renderer. And we just need to assign the material. And also on the script, we need to pass in the grid to the visual after it's created. So we need to call this function. That's pretty much all the setup we need. So we can add up here a serialized field. And then on private void start, we call setGrid and pass in the grid. Alright, so here we are, and by default every pixel is in white. That's because on the texture, by default we've got the 00, so it's going to be this color. Now I'm going to press a key to select my color, so now I should be painting in red, and as I click, there you go, nice red squares everywhere. Okay, so now I press another color, so that is going to set a different color UV, and I print, and there you go, yep, it does paint correctly. Alright, awesome. So just like this, we already have the basics fully working. We could just add some buttons to select the color and really let the player draw anything, so we're going to build that in a bit. But now with this basic drawing, let's actually go into the next task. Let's convert this into a PNG so we could then use it as the player sprite or player logo or anything. By the way, if you find the video helpful, please hit the like button. It's a tiny thing, but it really does help. Thanks. So first up, let's do that logic on a key press. Let's add one. So here, let's do save image. Let's make this function. Okay, now the first thing we need is to create a texture 2D. That is a class that holds an image, so a texture 2D. And we're going to set it with the same size as the grid. Okay, so now what we need is just to cycle through the whole thing and get the pixel color. So pretty much the exact same thing that we're doing here. So let's copy this loop. So we cycle through the X and the Y. Then with the grid object, over here we've got the color UV. So this one is a vector2. So we need to convert that into an actual pixel. So that one is really easy. We really just need a reference to the actual texture. So here let's set a serialized field of type texture 2D for the color texture 2D. And here we just drag the color reference. So now using this, we can simply go up here and we call get pixel. This one takes an X and Y, so we just need to do some math in order to convert the color UV into a pixel X and Y. Okay, so we just convert the normalized UV into an actual pixel value. Now here, one very important note on the get pixel. For this one to work, we need to make sure that the texture is marked as read-write. So on the color texture you have up here on the settings, here under advanced, you see one for read-write enabled, so make sure this one is ticked. Okay, so we've got the actual pixel, so we have the actual color that we want to print. So then really on the texture studio we created, we're just going to call setPixel on this X, this Y, and the color will be the one that we get from here. Okay, that's it. So we're going through the entire grid and constructing this texture 2D with the exact colored pixels. Then afterwards, we just do texture 2D.apply in order to apply our changes. And now with this, we can easily encode it into a PNG. So we can go into the texture 2D and we call the function encode. We can encode into any of these, but PNG is real nice. So this one returns a byte array. And with this, we can go into the basic system.io in order to file, write all bytes, and let's write the byte array and write a path. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's try drawing something and saving. Okay, so here, let me draw just something. Okay, that's pretty good. Now just press on P, and there you go, now it should have saved. And yep, in the project files, here it is, my pixel art file. Now it's super tiny because we just made really a 10 by 10 grid, but yep, here is our image. All right, awesome. So for the final piece of the puzzle, let's just load this image. So that is also pretty easy. Let's make a different script just to handle loading. Here, in order to load, let's just do a private void start. And on start, first thing we need is also a texture 2D. Now here for the width and height, you can leave it at 0. When it loads, it gets the correct size. And for the texture format, make sure you select the exact same one. Then just go into texture 2D, and we can use the load image function. This one takes an array of bytes, so we just need to get that. So essentially just do the exact opposite of this one. Okay, so now really just show this somewhere. So we just go into the mesh renderer, access the material, and modify the main texture to this texture that we just loaded. So here we can just create an object. Let's make this a simple quad. Put it off to the side and really just attach the pixel art load. And yep, over here is the loaded image. Now again, since we're just saving a really tiny image, just 10 by 10, over here Unity by default tries to use some bilinear interpolation. If you want it to be pixel perfect, then in here on the texture 2D, just set the filter mode and just set it to filter mode.point. And yep, here it is, our nice image that we just saved, and we are now loading. As another example, here I've got my character and I can walk around in this world. And over there is a nice bus stop. And instead of being just a boring default image, I can press a button, and yep, look at that, my drawing is now showing up on this billboard. Alright, awesome! So you can imagine combining this with some sort of web server or maybe the Steam Workshop, and you could have the player draw something and easily share it with others. Here is my final drawing demo. So I just built upon that. I added a color picker down here. As you can see, the texture now has multiple brightnesses, so it's not just with one level of saturation. Also on the edges there are some transparent parts. So I can click on it in order to select the color. And you can see the color over there, the color picker on that side. So as I click and I move around, I can select any of these colors. Now as for how this color picker works, this one is just placed on a simple quad mesh. Then I'm doing a raycast and getting the texture coordinate. So this is exactly the same thing that I covered in my rubber mechanics simulator video. In there I use this method to clean a part, and here I'm doing the same thing just to select a simple color. So I can pick any color I want. Let's say I want a nice yellow. And then I can just click and drag in order to draw anything I want. Then over here I also added these buttons in order to change the brush size, so I can make it really big and paint tons of pixels, or make it really small and just paint a handful. So I can draw whatever I want. And then over here I also got a really nice save button, so I can press on it. And there you go, it automatically saves a PNG, and over here it loads it to see what it looks like. So here is the pixel PNG file with my image, and here it is in the game. Then of course, like I said, you can use the PNG in any way you want. So this billboard demo is really just an example of loading that image on that place. But you could also use it maybe to let the player draw their own face, maybe draw their own icon for a shop, maybe draw some decals on a car, or anything you want. So as you can see, there's tons of possibilities for using this system. So this one is a really nice pixel drawing system, and if you want a more free-flow drawing system, you can go watch a previous video. Alright, hope that's useful. Check out these videos to learn some more. Thanks to these awesome Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.